What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Yankees Avenue Show on the Yankees Avenue YouTube channel. As usual, I'm Patrick Hennessy. That's Dan Rourke. Dan, how we doing on this very marvelous day?
Doing good, Pat. I missed you yesterday, man. I missed you, bro. I don't know
So
where
did
you
I.
were, but no, it's all good. Listen, I think we should let the viewers know, although it's totally okay that you slept a little bit yesterday, and that's why we're recording on a
That's
Tuesday.
just
But
not true. No,
oh,
see, I'll explain what
you
happened.
explain, defend your
Okay.
case.
Okay. So Mr. Dan Allen Rourke likes to record 8 a.m. Okay. Set my alarm every day, like 7, 7:15, whatever. I wake up, bro. I go to check my phone. It's black. It won't turn on. I go to turn it on. I'm thinking it's dead. It was at 50%. It's already 8:40, dude. I don't know why my phone shut off in the middle of the night. Bottom line here, I will take the blame, but it wasn't my fault.
I mean, that just makes me like suspect foul play. Then, if your phone was at 55% and just was turned off, whether it was by you or somebody else who wants to see the Yanks Avenue Show suffer, I have no idea. But yo, it's good to have you back. I'm doing good. We got a Subway series coming up. We got some negative vibes to talk about, I guess, with the Red Sox series. We'll get into all that, but I'm chilling, dude. How you doing?
Yeah, no, life's good. Can't complain. I'm really looking forward to the Subway Series, bro. I know like you kind of don't think like Yankees Mets is a big rivalry, but bro, every time they play, it always feels like a big deal.
It is cute. No, it's a cute thing. Like you watch a series, you have fun with it. It's nothing that I'm gonna lose sleep over though.
Okay.
It's
It
similar
mean it
to
means more. It means more to me than Yankees Red Sox right now. Just saying.
no.
But yo, before we get into topic number one, want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, FOCO. Code Yankees Avenue, 15% off your order. We'll show you guys some cool stuff in a little bit. But Dan, let's get right to topic number one. And we talked about kind of negative vibes coming into today's episode. And that's because the Yankees lost a series at home to the Boston Red Sox. They're now 3-4 since Judge went down. Looking at the Yankees this weekend against the Red Sox, it didn't really feel like a competitive team. Going up against a last place team in the AL East, and I know like last place in the AL East isn't really a knock, but still, the Red Sox haven't been the best team this year. And you lost a series at home to them, and I'm just looking at it, and I think that without Aaron Judge, things could get really bad really quick for the Yankees. I mean, we saw with Judge, like, bro, me and you were talking about the division is within reach right now. Like we were saying by the end of June, they could be in first place. And now they're 9 games back, with potential to fall back even further because who knows when Judge is coming back, right? I'm almost writing the division off completely, but I think the longer Judge is out and the longer we're like looking at Yankee lineups that look like they could be rail rider lineups, I think the Yankees are in serious trouble, at least offensively.
Yeah, they could be. And first, I just want to say, dude, I feel like so many people are throwing it out there that, I've said it myself. Yankees without Judge are nothing. And while that is true, I don't think that's like the biggest insult to the roster. Because you take any team's best player off their team, the landscape of the roster is going to be entirely different. I saw a tweet out today. I think it's that Dom kid on Twitter. Shout out to you, not roasting you, bro. But like, we're going back to '09, like, oh, I'd kill to have this energy today. Well, how do you think the energy was the first month of the season when they didn't have Alex Rodriguez and they looked terrible? They looked flat. They were under 500. Like, of course, we're going to be a better team with Aaron Judge and then worse without him. But yeah, dude, obviously, we're in a tough spot now, 9 games back, 38 and 29. On the division, I'll say I'm kind of with you. Like, I'm not going to rule it out. Of course, it's still possible, but my attitude towards it has changed. Yeah, I thought by the end of the month we'd be in first place. There's no way I can predict that now, especially because we don't think Judge is coming back till maybe 4th of July. So yeah, the Boston series was rough, really just from the standpoint of we don't have any margin for error right now with the offense that we're putting out there, which I still believe in actually a little bit more than I think the rest of the fan base does. They're capable of hitting home runs and running some wins. But with that said, when you don't have that kind of margin for error, you can't be having mistakes like Gleyber Torres had. Billy McKinney, he took the blame for it and said it was his bad. No, Gleyber Torres has to make that play. Just move over a couple feet. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, it was the Billy McKinney throw from left to second base. Gleyber tries to like short pick it. He explained that he would just short pick it, quickly fire to first. But anyways, he missed the ball. Runner ends up going to second, and that's it was a tying run. Little things like that. Anthony Rizzo getting picked off second base. Someone's got to give him a wake up call. That bro, you're like 34 years old now. Not that he was ever quick, but he's been known for being a really good base runner throughout his entire career. And I don't know if it's because he lost a step or whatever it is, but regardless, you can't be making little mistakes like that. And we saw that happen in the Red Sox series, and that's why we lost. Shout out to the pitching. Pitching's been good. Dude, I was
Yeah.
going through the Yanks app post game, just scrolling through my Instagram feed, and just the scores, like the runs we're giving up. It's like 3 runs, 2 runs, 3 runs, 4 runs. It's like the pitching is doing a phenomenal job. They really, really are. Just No room for error with this team right now until Judge comes back.
Yeah, no, I do want to say, like, if you want to look at a positive from the Yankees right now, like, it's definitely their starting pitching, right? I mean, you're looking at Clark Schmidt. He had a great start against the Red Sox. Domingo Román continues to just excel,
Real
bro. I
quick,
feel like,
Clark 2.3 ERA over his last 5 starts.
yeah, no, shout out to Clark Schmidt, because I completely wrote him off as a starting pitcher, but he's pitched pretty well. Like I said, Domingo's pitched pretty well. So if you do want to look at a bright side of the New York Yankees right now, like definitely their starting pitching. And the bullpen's been like what it is, right? It's been like one of the best bullpens in baseball this year. It just feels like the offense is a major problem, dude. And I'm happy you brought up Glaber because I like that Glaber like mental error. It kind of just reminded me of a narrative that I have. And every single time I start to like Glaber Torres, he gives me a reason to like take 2 steps backwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I'm
totally.
finally starting to like get on the Glaber Torres bandwagon. I'm like, all right, maybe he's not that 850 OPS guy that I thought he was, but maybe he's like a 750 OPS guy. He'll hit 25 homers a year, and I'm happy with that. But then it's like we see stupid things like this that just look like pure laziness and incompetence. And I'm like, bro, like, Cleaver, what are you doing? And it seems like it's maybe like a once a month kind of thing where it's like, all right, like he's finally getting on a hot streak. And then I'm like, bro, even the throw too. Didn't he have a throw in the Boston series that went like 15 rows
Oh
deep into
yeah,
the stands?
I think it was the
Like,
Boston series.
dude, it comes to a point where it's like it gives me like Robinson Cano vibes. Like he tries to like act cool and like nonchalant while making plays, but he's not half as good as Robinson Cano was defensively. So it doesn't really work out. You know
Just
what I mean?
generally speaking, dude. So they talked about this on the K show yesterday, and the whole conversation kind of threw me off a little bit because first of all, K was describing it as Glaber's not lazy. That's just the kind of play he has, similar to Robinson Cano. And while yes, I see the similarities there, especially lately on the ground ball up the middle, and he has a little wide slight throw, which is pretty freaking sick. Yes, there's some like kind of some similarities there. You could get over that, and also him jogging to first base, Robinson Cano, because he was hitting 30 home runs a year as a second baseman and
Yeah.
was an MVP candidate every single year. I like Gleyber Torres. He's a very good player. He's like a 760 OPS is valuable. He's capable of getting it towards 800. But when you have those mental lapses time and time again, it is sometimes tough to fully be on the bandwagon of, oh, they should give him a 6-year extension, which I've said many times. Like I've made it clear I want to have Gleyber Torres extended. But when he makes mistakes like that, it's like, bro, what are you doing to me here? It's like, just play. Don't be an idiot. That's the things that bothers me, dude. Like, I don't think he's being a lazy thing. I just think sometimes he's just not there. And it's just like, what are you doing? So
It's the nonchalant stuff. And like I said, like I don't think that he necessarily has the defensive skill set to be able to be nonchalant. You know what I mean? It just gets frustrating after a while, but who knows? Like
um
maybe I do want to say maybe there's a wake up call for him and he kind of picks it up, but I doubt it, dude.
also, I mean, this is probably the biggest problem of the whole series. Rizzo, Stanton, Donaldson, and DJ LeMahieu went a combined 6 for 66 against Boston. .90 batting average.
It's a problem.
That's why we lost. I mean, that in the end, that is why we lost. So I mean, you can talk about that error all you want, but the reason it's so magnified is because we only scored 2 runs. And what were the 2 runs that we scored? The Willie Calhoun single off the base, off second
Yeah.
base. So we kind of got lucky in that regard.
Wasn't that Trevino, I think.
Yeah, Trevino, my bad.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who had one of the worst at bats of all time, by the way. Um,
Another thing that gets magnified because nobody's scoring, but that was probably
yeah.
the worst at bat of the year, Pat. The
Yeah.
pitches he was swinging at when all you got to do is hit a fly ball. And call me crazy. I was actually kind of like pleased when I saw Trevino coming up because I usually associate him with being like kind of
Clutch.
competent at the plate and being able to be like, all right, situational hitting, just lift the ball in the air. But no,
Yeah. No,
not a fun
the Boston
series.
series was a complete failure offensively, and whatever. All you could do at this point is kind of move on to this Met series where I know like Scherzer and Verlander aren't necessarily having the best years, but dude, I mean, you got to try to put up some runs against them, but it's just not an ideal situation.
Hit some
Coming off
homers.
a
That's how you're
yeah.
gonna win. Hit some homers.
Um, but yeah, let's get into topic number 2, and that is Anthony Volpe, bro. He continues to struggle. Now he has the lowest on base percentage in Major League Baseball, 260. The defense hasn't really looked bad as it had like last month, but offensively, dude, I mean, he just continues to regress. If you look at his numbers from April until now, every single month that goes by, the numbers just keep getting lower and lower. Sure, maybe we wouldn't even be having this conversation if his ball against the Red Sox on what was it, Saturday night, stayed like 5 feet fair, but it didn't. So now we're
Yeah, I'm
looking at
tired of
Anthony
talking about
Volpe.
that, to be honest. Like,
Yeah,
that is the most over talked about foul ball in baseball history. I
bro,
feel like.
like it comes to a point where it was a foul ball. Like, get over it. And Anthony Volpe is struggling mightily. And I know I said, listen, you got to give him until July 1st, maybe. I'm worried at this point that the Yankees will never send him down. And I think it's come to a point where you have to send him down. I think that right now, being at the major league level is doing more harm than good. And I know a lot of people might disagree because you're like, oh, he has to get reps at the major league level. We've seen him get what are we at now? Like 2.5 months at the major league level. And we've
226
seen,
at bats now. So
yeah, and we've seen zero signs of progression, right? Like, if anything, we've seen the opposite. We've seen signs of regression. So I think right now, if you send him down in the middle of June, bro, if he goes down to AAA and starts raking, he's up August 1st. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
So I think if the more you continue to drag this out and hope that with like the spark of a miracle that he all of a sudden becomes an all-star caliber hitter overnight, which I don't think is possible because right now I think it's all mental because we know that like physically he has the skill set to be able to be a competent major league hitter. It's just he's not there right now. And I think he has to go down. I don't think it's a negative thing. I think it's only a positive thing long term. Go down, figure yourself out. Hopefully he dominates AAA. Come back August 1st and call up Oswald Peraza, bro, a guy who's on like a 50 home run pace in AAA. See what he could do at shortstop, and finally like move on from. I don't want to call it dead weight, but it kind of just feels like a sore spot right now that isn't really needed in the Yankees lineup.
yeah. So I totally hear everything you're saying. I'm still gonna stick on probably through the end of June. But now that it's June 13th, we're getting towards the tail end of that. And I do think the Yankees are actually in their heads preparing for the possibility of, yeah, them sending him down. I mean, you mentioned month by month him getting worse. You look at the OPS in April, 677 OPS with upward trends. He was looking good. May, 592 OPS. So far in June, 9 games, 394. And it's starting to look a little bit different. It really is. I'm not sure if it's he's just so easily like exploitable with the pitches he's not hitting, and MLB teams are just figuring that out, and he stands no chance. But whatever it is, like you watch his at bats, and it looks different than he looked in April, even when he was like technically still getting overmatched back then. Now it doesn't even look like he stands a chance. And yeah, Peraza's going off in AAA. Now it's at a point where because we don't have Judge and the Yankees are struggling, when it is affecting the team, then you kind of have a problem. And for the first time all year, you could kind of look at Volpe and be like, all right, like this is causing some trouble. Because before you can kind of just get over it. I mean, a week ago, we're 11 games over 500, just won two or three against the Dodgers. Judge is looking good. Like everything's fine. You don't worry too much about Volpe, at least as we are now. But 4-6 in our last 10, offense isn't hitting. He's kind of at the forefront of that. So we're getting to the point now. I'm not there exactly just yet. Still going to give him through the rest of June. But like plans, I think, are being prepared for a Yankee team without Anthony Volpe, and that's going to be sooner rather than later. I do think they're thinking about it. Like I think it's possible, very possible.
Yeah, and a couple things like I do want to bring up based on what you just said is one, I originally said I want to give him through June as well, but now I feel like it's at the point where even if he like turns it around and starts to hit a little bit like through the rest of June, like does that mean he still doesn't need any time in AAA? Like and then I think that sets the Yankees back even further because I think the longer you hold on to this, I think the longer it'll take for him to come back up. So my thought process is, yo, you sent him down now mid June. It's very likely that he could be up beginning of August, bro.
I do
You
like that
send
thought process
you
a
you
lot.
send him down early July, bro, we might be looking at like end of August, best case scenario.
I like the idea of preparing him for like a return later in the year. But I also just wonder, I mean, like, what exactly is the plan for AAA? Because my biggest concern right now is the pressure that he has on him. I think that's what's getting to him. But I mean, you listen to some of the quotes from the hitting coordinator, Derek Lawson, and dude, it's just like, what is the approach with this guy? Because pretty much everybody can see, even myself, who I never comment on like hitting mechanics, because I'm no scout. Like I watch, I react, that's that. But even I can see just the crazy hitch in his swing and that he stands no chance against pitches up in the zone. And it seems like everybody's realizing that, whether it is opposing pitchers with like the scouting reports or just fans watching. Like, why can't the Yankees figure that out? And if when you do figure that out, like, bro, go to work with the kid. Like his swing has barely changed at all.
Yeah, no,
And like
no,
I guess you
I
say you're gonna go down to AAA and he's gonna work on that, sure. But like the Yankees have from bottom top to bottom, like an organizational philosophy of how to hit. Like it's not like you go down to AAA, you're gonna get a different like a big different voice in the ear. It's like, no, it's Derek Lawson is the guy that's in Volpe's ear hitting wise. He just apparently, I guess, hasn't made any adjustments to him because the swing looks exactly the same.
well, no, but that's kind of my thing too. And there's a couple notes that I want to jot down based on like stuff you just said. One, I think it's ignorant for people to think like oh, the Yankees aren't working with him, right? Like I hate when people
Of course,
like
they're working with him.
no, but I hate when like people throw out this idea with any player that like, oh, the Yankees aren't like doing anything to help. Like, I'm sure with every single player that struggles, the Yankees are doing everything that they can to like show them adjustments to make or whatever. At the end of the day, the player is the one in the box and they control their destiny. And I'm sure they've
Mm,
worked with Volpe on like scouting reports, and
I'm
this is
sure they've
how
tried, but like, doesn't mean it's the right advice they're giving him.
sure, but also kind of just a couple other notes I want to say on this Volpe thing. One, I'm tired of people on Twitter like kind of making excuses and being like, "Oh, Anthony Volpe isn't the guy who's supposed to be carrying this Yankees lineup." Like, look at guys like DJ, look at guys like Rizzo. My thought process is, bro, you're the shortstop of the New York Yankees, right? Like, and I don't care how old you are, I don't care how much big league experience you have. Unfortunately for him, this is the weight you carry on your shoulders and you need to be producing. Like there's no excuses just because you're a rookie. Sure, if you want to give him some more leeway, because he's a rookie, sure. But I'm still holding him to a standard. You're in the major league lineup, like you should be producing. There's no excuses as far as that goes. And also, one thing that really pisses me off about like the struggles of Volpe is that it really hurts us at the trade deadline because now Peraza went from like a prime trade chip that we could use to improve other assets of our team, aspects of our team. And now, bro, like Peraza might have to be used as the starting shortstop come trade deadline time. And then like what prospect depth are you using to deal from then in case you want to get like a starting pitcher or an outfielder
Sure.
or something
Only
along
thing
those
is,
lines?
there really wasn't many guys I don't think available that would require Peraza because there's not many big fish. On the first thing you said about Volpe, though, with the way people were saying, like, oh, he's just a rookie, he wasn't supposed to carry the offense. Actually, I understand both sides because, well, one, yes, there's still expectations and you do have to perform. Like having a 260 OBP on June 13th is unacceptable. But with that said, though, like he's not the main villain here. It is DJ having the worst year of his career, Stanton being out for majority of the season. Josh Donaldson, I mean, yeah, he's hit some home runs, but he's also not looking amazing, especially in the Boston series wasn't great. Gleyber Torres too, Anthony Rizzo. I mean, like those are the guys that you pay the big bucks to that have to perform. Because if they don't, we're beat. There's a world where, and it was working, Anthony Volpe's not hitting, the Yankees are still thriving. And that was the case literally a week ago. That was the case. But there's not going to be a world, not any chance of there being a world where Rizzo doesn't hit, Gleyber doesn't hit, Donaldson, Stanton don't hit, and we succeed. It's just flat out not possible. Whereas with Volpe, you can kind of get over it when we were for a while.
I bro, like the pessimistic point of view, I'm like, yo, I think they're gonna let him ride out the whole season, regardless of how he performs. But then like how I feel is like, yo, if I'm the Yankees, I'm sending him down tomorrow. So I don't like it's a weird conflicting
It
thought
depends because I
process.
mean, if you're getting Judge back, once again, I think if you do have Judge, you can deal with Volpe in the 9 hole not hitting with the hope that at some point he'll pick it up a little
Well, no,
bit.
I think even if Judge's in the lineup, you can't have a 260 OBP in your lineup. You
Yeah,
just
sure,
can't.
but also the lineup was doing just fine without him, with Judge in it, like and Volpe
I know,
struck.
but I know, but like we can't just sit here and be like, yeah, I mean, 260 OBP, that's fine.
Well,
Like
you
just
also don't
because
like you don't assume that's who Volpe actually is. It's more so like you have
yeah,
him
but
in there,
that's
you
what
don't
those are
send
the
him down.
numbers he's putting up
Yeah, but
though.
I haven't lost all hope on Anthony Volpe. I mean, I still look at
Neither
his
have I.
future. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't assume he's going to be that the rest of the season, but you deal with the struggles and hope that the highs will come. It's just the highs have been so few and far between over the past 2 months that it
Yeah.
does make you think a little bit.
Yeah. Oh well. We'll see. But damn, before we get into topic number three, want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, FOCO. Code Yankees Avenue, save 15% off your order, bro. Get some beautiful bobbleheads. Check out this Judge one. It's very, very nice. They got a bunch of other stuff, clothing, hats, all kinds of merchandise going on, dude.
I
But
don't
yeah,
have anything, unfortunately, but you know how much I love FOCO. And I did the other day wear to a little barbecue action. I wore my nice, the button down with the stars and the Yankee
yeah,
logo, and I looked good and I felt good too, bro. I was looking in the mirror, like it was one of those moments where like you can't help but kind of like wink at yourself and be like, yeah, I kind of look
I
like
know.
this shit right now. And it was one of those moments, and I got hella comments at the queue. Guys, go get yourself decked out, get yourself a nice button down Yankee shirt because Yankees are coming back. They're coming back. We got a big series of the Mets,
Yeah,
two gamer,
sure, sure.
and we need you to be decked out in FOCO, or else the Yankees will never win a World Series again. Is that like
Bro,
blackmail?
before we get into topic number three, we're talking about clothing. I feel like if, bro,
Yeah,
let's not even say anything about the shirt. I feel like if you know, you know. Like I feel like only
I'm
like
with that.
real viewers of the show know about this shirt.
I'm totally with that. Yo, if you know what that shirt's from, drop a comment below, and we'll love you forever.
Yeah.
Also,
Uh,
shout out to I want to shout out my boy Greg Mazzo. I met him at the gym yesterday. He watches the show all the time. He was like,
Cool.
yo, Dan, you probably recognize the name too. Like I knew when he said Greg Mack, I was like, oh, I see you all the time. Watches the Yankees Ave show. Like says he watches every episode and stuff. So shout out to you,
That's
Greg
so
Mack.
wholesome,
Yeah,
bro.
no, it's sick. It
So
made my day. So
But yeah, topic number three. I want to talk about Carlos Rodon. He exists apparently. He's gonna throw another live BP, and then we'll be set to start a rehab assignment next week. I think they said they want to get like what 3 rehab starts under his belt, something along those lines. He had that live BP at Yankee Stadium. I think it was on Sunday. Hit Willie Calhoun,
yeah,
bro. Had a little injury scare there. Once we saw the report, like oh, Carlos Rodon hits Willie Calhoun, he runs to the clubhouse. I convinced myself, bro, Carlos Rodon is a paid hitter by the Astros to sabotage the Yankees. That's what I was thinking, but looks like Willie's fine, hopefully. But do you think it's finally time that we can get excited about Carlos Rodon, or are we still like dipping our toes in the water?
it's time to get excited, Pat. And the reason for that is he apparently looked really good and he felt great. It's not just a matter of, oh, we see Carlos Rodon throwing. We hear he's going to start a rehab assignment next week. Like, that's all good and great. But no, apparently he looks like Carlos Rodon. And the fastball, which felt good out of his hand and looked like he had some like nice sharp bite on it, was only sitting 92, 93. Like, we'll see another probably 2-3 miles an hour come with, because he has to do whole spring training. I mean, the 3 starts, I think he may even need 3 or 4. That's why, like, you're still probably at least a month away from seeing Carlos Rodon pitch for the Yankees. But yeah, dude, with the fact that the stuff looked as good as he did and he feels as good as he does, you can get excited now. You really
Yeah,
can. Because if he's back in a month, I would say just let's start fresh. Second half, Rodon, pencil yourself in there. Like, let's go to work. Let's get something here. Second half, he's the 2 to Garrett Cole. You'll have Sevy going, and then maybe Nestor's back by then as well. At least in terms of the names, we're getting that rotation. The 1 through 4 is like, it's now a tangible thought. You can
yeah.
grab it. It's
I
coming.
uh I disagree wholeheartedly.
Really?
Dude, I mean, we're looking at such a long period of time now where something will go wrong with Carlos Rodon. Like let's just be honest here. We're looking at a guy injury prone career, bro. All he's done with the Yankees is get injury after injury. There's a lot of time from now until he steps on the mound at Yankee Stadium for a lot of things to go wrong. So I'm just gonna follow like the chain of events that have already transpired. I'm not getting optimistic yet. I'm not going to be optimistic about Carlos Rodon until he makes his final rehab start and we hear he's scheduled to pitch on Sunday at Yankee Stadium against the Oakland A's. Like something along those lines. And then I'm like, all right, I'm all in on Rodon. But until then, dude, even when he's back, I'm going to take it with the Bader approach and be like, yo, it's only a matter of time until he leaves us again. So as far as like my philosophy on these guys, I wait for them to prove me wrong and then I'm happy, right? Like Carlos Rodon comes back in what mid-July after the All-Star break, let's say, pitches like an absolute dog, stays healthy for the rest of the season, carries the Yankees through the postseason. Then I'm like, all right, I'm relying on this dude. And everything that I said about him in the first couple months of the season about being injury prone and a bad contract, like that all goes out the window, dude. But until he does that, I'm gonna be doubtful.
I can't. I don't have a choice, bro. Like, I know what you're saying. I understand the vibe. If we don't get Rodon back, we're just absolutely screwed. Like, he's a huge piece of this team. So if I were to like even think there's a possibility he doesn't come back right now, might as well not even watch tonight's game. He has to come back, Pat, and he will come back. He will come back. And I'm saying, bro, it's different now than it was in spring training because when he was throwing, even that one outing we saw against the Braves in spring, he just didn't look right. Apparently now he does. He looks like Carlos Rodon. And like, what's going to happen? I mean, the back's been fine. He got the cortisone shot. Like, there's no current situation going on right now that like I'm not worried about like a setback or anything. Like the back, I don't know exactly how it works, but like with the cortisone shot, like the pain's going to be gone and like the stiffness is going to be gone. So he should be good to go on that front. I understand there's other ligaments as well that he can maybe rupture, whatever it may be. But nah, we need Carlos Rodon. We're nothing without Carlos Rodon.
Okay, well that's a stretch. No, that's a stretch.
Nah,
The Yankees are not nothing without Carlos
no,
Rodon.
I don't mean that in the way I say it about Judge, but in terms of like you think about a World Series aspirations, like we need Carlos Rodon. I'll
Sure.
put this: our World Series hopes are nothing without Carlos Rodon. That's what I should say.
Dan, topic number 4. Starting the Subway Series tonight, I'm very, very excited for it. The pitching matchups are going to be absolutely lethal. Tonight we have Sevy versus Scherzer. Tomorrow night, bro, Cole versus Verlander. First time facing each other since they were teammates on the Astros. Both going to be electric matchups. But the Yankees and Mets are both in similar situations right now. I know the Yankees are in a better state record wise. I think they're 9 games above 500. The Mets are 3 games under 500, but both teams are 9 games out of first place.
Mets are
What,
four
four
under
games under?
500 now. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. But yeah, both are 9 games out of their respective divisions, and both are without their star players, right? The Mets are without Alonso until I think All-Star break ish. And the Yankees are without Judge for God knows how long. But if you had to look at both teams right now, who would you say is in a more compromising situation heading into this series?
I mean, I don't want to sound biased. We're definitely both in a tough spot, but the Mets by a landslide. I mean, well, yeah, we're going through some shit. Big difference between being 9 games over 500 and 4 games under 500. I see we're both 9 back in the division, sure, but I've kind of given up on the division. So I'm just looking at playoff hopefuls. And if you look at the wild card situation here, Yankees have a wild card spot. Let's brag about it. But no, the Mets, I mean, they're still in it. They're 3 out, but also like the teams they gotta climb. And just, dude, listening to what my Met friends have to say and like watching the Michael K show, hearing Don LaGreca, they are in like there's a difference between where we're at, which largely does just stem from Judge being out. But even before Alonso going down for the Mets, I mean, like, dude, Scherzer and Verlander just really haven't been good. A
Yeah.
lot of their players are just not playing well. And also, talk about there being a difference between the two teams. I mean, man, yeah, we have a 290 mil payroll, but they got 370 and they're 4 games under 500. Like shit just really isn't working out for them. And I feel bad for them, dude. I really do, because that's got to suck. Same in a way, like I felt bad for the Padres. Like if you don't make the playoffs with a payroll over $300 million, like that's unfathomable to me. But it is baseball.
Yeah. And
Mets by
and
far is my answer. Like I think the Mets are really in a much shittier spot because we're still in it, dude. Like, and also like I think people are also in some way being dramatic too. Like we are not like by no means has a season like fallen on its axis. We're still 9 games over 500. We could get to a point where it does, but as of this date, June 13th, like we're still in a fine spot considering all the shit that's gone down. The Mets,
sure,
not so much.
I agree. Like the Mets are in a worse off situation than the Yankees are right now. Just because I don't think that they necessarily have like the depth that the Yankees do. And I think it's unfortunate for them, obviously, but that's kind of what you get for relying on like 40-year-old guys at the top of your rotation in Scherzer and Verlander. You just one couldn't bank on their health, and two, you couldn't bank on them to replicate the performances that they put up in previous years. Bro, once pitchers get up there in age, like you really just can't rely on them.
Which is really
So
the big difference between the two teams. Like our offense is similar, actually. If you look at like where we
yeah,
rank, but our pitching is just phenomenal. Theirs is not. So like, how you
yeah,
winning games if both your offense and pitching is trash?
yeah. But one thing I do want to say about both teams is I do think that both teams are going to make the postseason. I think the Mets will find their way into a wild card spot. They probably won't win the division, and I think the Yankees will find their way into a wild card spot too. The Yankees definitely have a tougher path just because the American League is a little bit tougher. But yeah, I mean, if you want to look at a bright side for the Mets, bro, Francisco Alvarez, he's been an absolute dog since being called up. Must be nice to have a rookie come up and do that. But also on the flip side, like they have a couple of rookies, the baby Mets who aren't succeeding, right? Like Brett Beatty's been underwhelming. That Vientos kid, he's been underwhelming too. So I definitely think both teams have their flaws and both teams definitely have their upsides to look at coming off
Yeah,
this
I
series.
think it might just come down to like Mets and Padres for that final wild card.
I think the Mets will. But yo, shout out to the Marlins, by the way. They're having a great, like,
Yeah,
low key seed. Like the fact that they're 7 games above 500, 2.5 games up on a wild card spot. Dude, shout out to the Marlins because no one really expected them to do it. And bro, Luis Arias batting over
rooting so
400.
hard for him. It is down to
Insane.
397 now, I think, but I'm rooting for him.
Oh,
Even dude to hit like, bro, if he can hit like 380, even like that would be sick.
insane.
Like
Yeah,
I'm rooting for the dude.
shout
But
out.
yeah, so we're
But
in
yeah, let's get
agreement. Mets are obviously in a worse spot.
sure. Let's get into
Sure.
topic number 5. What?
What do you mean, sure? Like, obviously they are. Like, I like the question of the Subway Series, but like, you can't even compare the two.
No, no, sure, but like I still think both teams are in a bad spot. Like it's kind of like, oh, like
I think I look at us more as like we're in like a little rough patch right now. We're in a rough spot with the assumption Judge is back in 3 weeks. K Pat,
sure. But okay. As of right now, I don't think either. I think both teams are postseason potential teams, but I don't think either team is capable of winning a World Series right now.
Yankees need a left fielder. I'll rest my case at that.
but I feel like you're looking at it where it's like the Yankees get a left fielder, they're going to be a World Series team. I don't
Oh,
think
I
it
thought you were
works
going to
like
say
that.
I'm looking at it even without the left fielder. Listen, if they got hot and they could roll off like a good October with this current team, like I'm sure they could win the World Series. But no, you do need to get a left fielder. But
Yeah,
dude, I don't want to get this like twisted though, bro. Like this is how a baseball season works. I understand there's highs and lows, but let's not forget the ultimate end goal roster here, dude. Yes, if we get a left fielder, we have a very good team. We already have one of the better teams in baseball, Pat. I'm sorry. Like you go back to that Dodgers series. Let's go back to that second game that we win. Judge is still healthy. Things are looking good. Pat, we're scoring like 7, 10 runs a game. Pitching is looking great. Judge is on pace for another MVP historic season. Like we have a very good bullpen. We have a rotation, which is a question mark, but should be very good. We just have to fix the lineup by adding probably one more piece, get Judge back. And like, I don't think I'm crazy for saying we have like a top 5 offense in the American League, which when you have that with the good bullpen, good rotation, like you can win a World Series. You can.
they're the New York Aaron Judges, bro. Without Judge, they're literally a minor league team. So
Not
it
an
really
insult
all
at all.
depends
Yeah.
on him.
Not an
But
insult.
yeah,
That's how I should, that's how it should be in a way. Like, yeah, you build around your star player. That's how most of the time it is. Once again, what were the '09 Yankees without A-Rod? Nothing.
sure. And I think that just goes to show like A-Rod was the core of that team.
Well, they don't win in '09
Sorry to the
without him,
Jeter
so.
lovers, but
But I'm saying it's nothing crazy. Like, of course, yeah, your best player you don't have him. You're not going to be as good.
yeah. Dan, topic number 5. This one's a little quickie, I guess. John Sterling got hit with a foul ball while calling the game. I'm pretty sure everyone's seen the video now at this point. He's like calling it. First of all, I don't know how he didn't see the ball flying back at him. 84, I guess I'll give him a break for it. But dude, I'm sorry. It was so funny. Like
But
seeing the
ow.
ball bounce off his head, and then he's going, ow,
That was to be what was
ow.
funny as hell. But he
Dude,
kept
he must have
calling
said
it.
ow like 5 times. Shout out to John Sterling, an absolute goat. But yo,
I
I
thought he
think the
took it
fact
like
that
a champ.
no, and that's what I want to say too. Like the fact that he's 84 years old and he's just like in the booth the next day too with a bandage on his head. Major respect to him. Like he might not be my favorite announcer. I'm not like listening to him call the games on radio, but I think like everyone can respect the greatness, the longevity, the drive, bro, that he even wants to like get up every morning as an 84-year-old man and like call the games. Major respect to John Sterling.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I still enjoy, he's taking a step back kind of, which, yeah, he's 84. So what can you expect? But like, I enjoy still turning on the radio, John and Susan. And like, from a nostalgia standpoint, it still does hit, especially baseball on the radio in general. I'm not sure, like, how many games a year you think you listen on the radio? Like, do you ever
No,
like driving
zero.
in the car? Like,
No.
I'll usually like, it'll be like a bridge to the TV. Like the other day, stopped at McDonald's to get a Diet Coke. Line took fucking 20 minutes. Don't get me started on that. But anyways, I was late and I was like, all right, let me just fire on the radio. And you hear John Sterling, and I was like, shit, it might as well be 2005 when I'm like a 5-year-old kid in kindergarten listening to the game. So I like it from a nostalgia standpoint. And John Sterling, I think is still a beast, man. I mean, like he'll have the occasional missed home run call, but when he does still nail a homer call, like on an actual big dramatic moment, I think it still plays really well. Like, say Giancarlo Stanton hits a walk-off home run tonight, right? Oh, not a walk-off, but a go-ahead home run tonight. And he like drops all his like Stantonian blast, this and all that, and he's pumped up and excited. Loki does still have like some really good energy to it, I think.
Maybe.
Even at
And
84.
I'll tell you like the one John Sterling moment that like I'll always remember is it was 2017 ALDS game 4 maybe? Maybe game 4, maybe game I
What
don't know,
moment? What
whatever
was the
game it
moment?
was. It was the one where it was like 1-0 in the ninth inning, maybe. And I was listening to the
Game
game on the
3.
radio in my car because I was like on the way home, like I'm not gonna make it. Let me put on the radio. And I think Carlos Santana was up, and he hits like a fly ball to center field. John Sterling starts hyping it up like it's a home run, bro. I'm about to drive my car off the highway, and he's like, "Oh, when it's caught in center field, the Yankees win." Dude, it's just things like that. Like listening to the game on radio, it definitely makes it a lot more suspenseful because a normal fly ball that like you could tell is a routine out watching on
Yeah.
TV, dude, you might think it's 500 feet to center field listening to it on the radio.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's true. Is that I think that was game 3 when Chapman was closing. And he like,
Yes.
I think he like,
Yes.
whether like walked at bases loaded or whatever it was. I remember I think I may have listened to that
I
game a
think
little
that
bit
was the
ago too, and
Judge
I saw
robbery.
game day and I see like, oh, we're up. It was a Greg Bird game. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And it was like bases loaded, whatever it was, went out, but he ended up getting out of it. Um, that was a fun series, man. That was a fun ass series. And that kind of like
Fun
talk
series.
about the modern thing with the Guardians that you always mention. That kind of
Yeah.
started a little bit, that 2017 series. So
Yeah.
yo, good episode today.
Great
Fun
episode.
to be back at it on a nice little Tuesday. So we got Mets for 2 tonight and tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday. Off day Thursday, crazy amount of off days. And then we're in
Well,
fucking Fenway on
I'm
Friday.
not banking on that off day just yet because I think Wednesday it might rain potentially, and I think they'd probably make up that game on. I think that's probably why they
Nah,
built in that Thursday
I
off
don't
day.
do rain, dude.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
So we'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Socials, where can they find you, Pat?
Twitter and TikTok at Unhinged Patrick. Instagram at True Hennessy.
Very good. Dan, I work on Twitter. Dan, I work on Instagram. Yankees Avenue here on YouTube. Yankees Avenue on Instagram as well. Let's go win a couple games.
Sure.
Like honestly, like I fuck 1 out of 2 or split any of that shit. Like nah, like
No, you gotta win both.
yeah, you have to win both.
You
Agreed.
gotta win both.
All right, y'all. See you guys next time. Let's go, Yanks.
Her body's gold like September. She burns through the night like an ember. And all those things we try forgetting, I remember. But we say we all fine, we all fine.